Hello, everyone. This is We Talk, and we invite you to join us once more as we continue our discussion on food security. All right, so this week we will be speaking about fruit production. Last week we spoke on foodscaping. So that video is out. You can check that one out as well. This week, we will be focusing on fruit production and specifically urban fruit production, right? So people living in urban and suburban areas. For my country folks, this is not really for you because typically you find folks that live in the more rural areas tend to have more land space, and they also tend to have more access to fruit trees and food trees. So this topic is not so much for you. This is more for the folks living in the urban and suburban areas, right? So we would have gone through this slide already last week. But again, our goal is achieving food security for all families, and we believe this is possible. Our approach targets the working and the middle class, upper middle class and beyond. Why? Because we don't feel that the burden for food security should be put on those who are already struggling just to get something to eat and struggling to survive. And the idea is to provide simple solutions that be food secure. Food secure meaning you're not hungry, you are not worried about where that next meal is coming from. Most of your day is not devoted to just thinking about how you're going to eat, right? So solutions that the food secure can implement to increase food and nutrition availability. So if you are food secure, then what we are encouraging you to do is not just think about yourself and your family because you're already eating, right? We want to see this as a community initiative because communities comprise of all sorts of families. So there are lots of families out there who are also in need, right? And if those of us who are in a little better position can also try to do a little more, we can help ease the burden on these folks as well. And we also believe that we do have all the resources we need to achieve food security. So it's not wondering where the resources are or if we have the resources. It's more a matter of focusing on bringing solutions that pull the different resources together, that unify these available resources to achieve a very specific outcome. So urban fruit production. Urban households and commercial spaces, again, because you find the commercial properties also tend to be not in the country, but more in the urban areas and in the cities, right? So urban households and commercial spaces, and again, we're talking about open spaces, the land in particular, can add significantly to the availability of locally produced fresh fruits. Now, it is great that we can import fruits from other countries, and we are definitely not against trade, right? We believe trade, especially foreign trade, is a big part of any economy. So we are not trying to cut off ourselves from the rest of the world. But what we are trying to do is increase the amount of value that we bring to the table, right? So having our foreign fruits, our imported fruits is fine, but we also have to understand how a lot of these dynamics work, right? Oftentimes, when you import fruits or vegetables from long distances, you probably don't get them when they are fully ripe, right? Different chemicals may be added to aid in the fruit maturing and getting the color that we expect and all these different things. So if you could pick a fruit off a tree at the time it is fully ripe, then you're really getting the best nutritional value, right? So this urban fruit production drive can contribute also to a more diverse natural diet for our children and our families. How many fruits do we import? Now, I am not all that old, right? But I myself have not tasted most of the local fruits that we have, and my children even less so, because just a simple search and you would realize we probably have over 50 um, local fruits, right? Fruits that were not just indigenous, but even, fruits that probably were brought into the country many, many years ago, and now they become Trinbagonian just as us, right? And we should be having and enjoying much more fruits because of where we live, the type of climate we have, and what we are able to grow. But that diversity has diminished greatly over the years, right? Um, and what is sad is even the nutritional benefits. We have lots of research on all of these things, but that research is not really getting to us, the people, so we could fully understand and appreciate the benefits of what we already have right here. So, a consistent supply of fresh fruits adds to the nutritional needs of children more so, but even us adults, right? And we want to stress on the fresh fruits, picked when they are supposed to be picked, when they are matured properly. Now, fruits can be processed to produce a variety of healthy, value-added products. And fruits and fruit value-added products make for healthy, tasty snacks that satisfy our sweet tooth cravings, right? So let's get into this some more. Now, I mean, this is just the basics. I think all of us would have learned from since our childhood age the benefits and the importance of fruits and vegetables, right? But this is still a quote taken from medical news today. Fruits are an excellent source of essential vitamins and minerals, and they are high in fiber. Fruits also provide a wide range of health-boosting antioxidants, including flavonoids. Including flavonoids. Felt like there was supposed to be some more at the end of that. And eating a diet high in fruits and vegetables can reduce a person's risk of developing heart disease, cancer, inflammation, and diabetes, right? Now consider this. Consider the best popular vitamin, multi-mineral brands that are on the market, right? You pay to get tablets that you ingest to put the minerals and the vitamins into your system, right? Now, look at the investment on a monthly basis. Now consider the benefit, the savings from just having access, having ready access year round to healthy, well, not healthy, but to fresh fruits in particular, right? Look at some of the diseases, or some of the conditions that these things help. Now, we understand, even from an economic perspective, the strain that the economic strain sickness places on a nation or a community. So the more healthy people you have, the more these people are able to contribute positive value to your community or to that nation, right? So we should be focusing on health, and we are seeing an increase in people paying more attention to the health, paying more attention to the type of foods and the type of things that go into their bodies, and this is good. So fruit foodies, right? Urban fruit production, I mean, it just sounds so technical. right? So what we are trying to encourage is more people to become fruit foodies. Does the term fully make sense to what we are doing right now? I am not really sure. However, I like the way it sounds. It sounds more fun than just urban fruit production. So for now, we are going to go ahead and use the term fruit foodies. So who are we targeting? We are targeting people, families, and organizations that have access to land in urban areas. When we looked at foodscaping last week, we said we are targeting the same thing, people, families, organizations, but those who are already spending money on landscaping, right? So a lot of these same people would also fall into this category because if you had no land to scape, you would not be spending money on it, right? So you already have land, even if it's a lot of land. And the aim is to encourage this group to plant or replant fruit trees. Now, as a Trini, as a Trinbagonian, over the age of 40, right, I would have been around during the time where almost every household had fruit trees, particularly mango, right? You know, it's like every yard had a mango tree in it. The home I grew up in, it wasn't this large home. It was a, you know, okay size, a 3 bedroom. Um, but we were able to accommodate a guava tree, a West Indian cherry tree, 3 different types of mango trees, the best pomerac tree in Trinidad and Tobago, and a cashew tree, right? We also had a coconut tree. Actually, we had 2 different types of coconut tree. That was, you know, but over the years, trees started to be cut down for various reasons, even reasons like the neighbors complaining because leaves going in the yard, right? So the point is, I am sure that experience is the same for many other people, right? Trends change. What we value changed. So we started having less value for the fruit trees we were able to grow in our own yards. We started to switch over to having just more flowering plants. We started to switch over from having a lot less grass and dirt to having paved areas or tiled areas, right? So we switched from these things. We switched from having the trees to enjoy as now seeing them as a nuisance because the tree too big, leaves falling when the fruits come, and there are so many fruits, the fruits falling on the ground and they encouraging flies. So now the fruit trees, things that should be adding to our health and our well-being, started to become a nuisance. So what do you do with things that are a nuisance? You get rid of them. So more and more homes and households started getting rid of their fruit trees. And less homeowners, new homeowners, probably planted this amount of trees that we would have had back in the day, right? And this is the reality. Having trees, because I remember the pomerac tree we had, that pomerac tree was taller than the coconut tree. That was the tallest tree in the yard, right? Mango trees, you know, these trees get big, they get huge if you leave them unattended. So we pruned that pomerac tree quite a few times, right? So again, what this comes down to is management. So sometimes people need assistance in doing these things because they don't know how to do it. They don't feel comfortable doing it for themselves. They may not have the necessary tools or the available time. So we are not just saying, well, go and plant trees. Just as we did or we suggested with the foodscaping, again, services, businesses can be created to help owners manage these things, right? So you can get professionals to come and prune your trees for you regularly because there are benefits to that. Number one, you want to keep them at a manageable height. Pruning also maximizes fruit production, right? Pruning is good for the tree because it signals to the tree that, hey, we need to keep releasing more growth-related hormones and so forth. So pruning is actually good. Now, another practical problem people had, let's say you just have a small family, right? You have a huge mango tree or a few of them. You have a huge pomerac tree. You all can't eat all that. You probably get fed up eating pomerac and mango. So now these things just falling on the ground and rotting, right? They encouraging fruit flies and other things. So this now becomes a nuisance. Same solution. Let a service be created where the assistance is there to not only manage the trees, but also when it is harvest time, to help with that. Why? Because the point of all of this is to have excess and to have surplus. Surplus wasn't the issue. Really, we have always had a surplus of fruits. Even people in country areas, they have so much they don't know what to do with it. The issue is managing that surplus, right? Not realizing that that surplus represents hard cash. That surplus represents food and nutrition that could be used at a later date. So we have had surplus for years. It's like we getting excess money and we throwing it away, we burning it, right? We getting surplus cash and we using that as paper to start fire. We have had a management problem over all these years, and this is what we need to correct, right? Because what we ourselves realized as a family when we actually started composting and doing different things, even the excess fruits, right, that just fell to the ground and couldn't be used, or we didn't know how to use them at that point in time, because we were able to dispose of them in a better way, the amount of fruit flies and all these other things decreased. Why? Because the environment for them to multiply simply wasn't there. So we can also, coordinate the fruit planting. Why coordinate? Because it is much easier for everybody to do what they see everybody else doing. So if we don't coordinate, this is probably how it's going to look. We're going to have almost every household now with some mango trees, probably something like an avocado tree, right? In other words, we are going to see a lot of the same thing, even though we have so many wonderful fruit and fruit trees to choose from. So if we can coordinate, especially now taking it on a community level, we can say, okay, we want to increase diversity. We're looking at fruits that, high in different nutritional content, and we want to now mix it. So in any one community, you should now be able to easily access 10 to 20 different types of local fruits, right? Now, here's one of the nice things that this will do as well. I know there are many people who are interested in purchasing and using, local fruits on a regular basis. But when you look at the price, it really could be a bit intimidating. So the question now is, why should our locally produced fruits, our locally grown fruits, be priced so high? Because again, it comes down to the market dynamics, right? If the people who get in the fruits have to go quite, right, to pick or purchase or negotiate to get these fruits from whoever, then they have to come back to the urban areas, come back to the city, right? All that is going to be reflected in the price. Now, if these same people don't have to go far, right, there is not as much scarcity, then what is going to happen? The cost of those items will decrease, right? So this is also going to make it more affordable for us to enjoy our local fruits. You also want to connect with the processors and the value-added product creators, because again, all the surplus cannot just go directly into our bellies. right? There will be too much, but there's lots of other wonderful products that can be made from these fruits. And finally, we want to try now and educate the public on creative ways to utilize and process these fruits, right? And we ourselves will discuss some of these in future videos, because all that has to do with food security. Remember, the fresher it is, the more likely it is going to break down very quickly. That is what it was designed to do. When the fruit fall off the tree, it was designed to break down and go back to the earth very quickly. So it is up to us now, and we are creative, right? We are very intelligent. We have already found ways to process and to preserve these things so that we can continue to enjoy them much longer than we would if we just left them in that fresh state. So some action steps. Again, this is not rocket science, right? Simple. Start planting or replanting fruit trees. Ain't no big science in that. You start planting trees, right? Replant, okay? Come together as a family and say, look, we have some space, let's plant some trees. And now, a lot of these, you can get fruit trees now, instead of just going straight from seed, that will start giving you fruit in at least 3 years, right? So this is not a thing where you have to wait 10 years, right? Before you start enjoying the fruit of your labor. Okay, so start planting trees. Learn how to use your fruits. And again, we will share some of the ways in future videos. But listen, there's YouTube, there's Google, right? Learn how to use your fruit so you won't be so intimidated by the excess. Something we should have put in here as well is also, learn to share, right? The better we are able to manage, the less this thing is going to be a burden, and the more it's going to now turn into a great benefit. Connect with a service that will help with the management of the trees and the harvesting of the fruits. So you see, there is opportunity for a new business to be formed that specializes in this, that will employ people, that will streamline and make the process more efficient, and finally make it normal, right? Hashtag make growing fruit trees normal, okay? Because it is social trends that caused us to start cutting down our fruit trees in the first place, right? Call it home fashion, right? The fashion, it was no longer fashionable for us to have fruit trees. So we need to make these things normal again, all right? So this has been urban fruit tree production on We Talk. This is much bigger than what we are doing right now. As we said, we want to take food security to all families. So this is huge. No one organization, one company, one person can do this. So we are looking to people, or for people, who would share our value and share this dream and want to do something about it, right? So there are ways that you can support WeVillage, and we have some of them listed here, because this is the catchphrase or the tagline that I think what we are doing is really built upon. It takes a village. It takes a village to raise a child, so it takes a village to raise a society. And when you understand that village concept, if you are part of the village, you are part of the family, you are part of us. So this is what we want. We want people to come out of this individualistic type attitude and start thinking more on a community level, right? So you can shop on our marketplace for your fresh produce, and we also have some other grocery related items there. The link for that will be in the description, right? So shop on the marketplace, get your fresh fruits, get your fresh produce, and we will continue to expand what we make available for your convenience. You can also sponsor a fresh produce hamper and help feed a family. This is something that we want to do on a monthly basis. Eventually, we want to get to the point where on a weekly basis, we can also be providing hot meals, right, for people who may need it. But for now, we are focusing on delivering hampers, and we want to be able to, to track this, right, in terms of pounds and tons of food given out. You can also become a WeVillage member or a WeVillage executive member. So you can find out more about that, but simply a member is someone who would make a commitment, not just to join, but to help us build and promote this thing, right? And then there are certain benefits now you would enjoy and receive for helping us do that. For those, particularly those who are living abroad, as we would say, North America, the US, Canada, so forth, you can support by shopping for some WeVillage merch, right? Get a nice WeVillage t-shirt, right? It takes a village to raise a society, have your morning coffee in a WeVillage mug. We also have digital products. Right now, we are still working on our food security ebook, right? That should be finished hopefully within the next month or so. So we would have that available as well as some other digital products. So you can support by doing that. And finally, start a conversation. Let's see how we can work together. Something interested you, you are not sure what you could do, you want to support in some way. There's so much to do because all of us have some type of resource. You may have land and you don't know what to do with it. You may have fruit trees and oh gosh, I don't like to see the fruits go to waste, but I don't know what to do, right? You may be a social influencer. You may have a business, or you may be interested in starting a business that has something to do with food and agriculture. And you are looking for more people to connect with. Let's have a conversation and see where that goes, right? So thank you once again for spending this time with us on We Talk. It's all about practical food security. And what we are saying as we talk is that we can take action as individuals, as families, even as organizations or corporate bodies. We can contribute tremendously to making food security a reality, right? This is not about putting all the burden on the government and saying, well, if they don't do, or we have to wait for them to do. No, all of us need to work together and start thinking community level and nation level, and not just, well, I good and my household good, we eat and we good, so everybody else just need to work hard and they could do the same thing as well, right? Society is not as simple as we try to make it out to be sometimes. So thank you once again, and look out for another practical food security video as we continue this series. This has been We Talk. Have a blessed week, everyone.